At long last, the final update for Tales Within the Sand is now out. While my original video is still relevant, I've had a lot more time and experience since then to know what's effective and what challenges to watch out for. Plus, the update history for Reclamation Algorithm has brought new features, rebalances, and quality of life tweaks to enhance the early, mid, and late game experiences of this mode. Of course, the in-game tutorials and guidance are still a bit lacking and don't really account for all the new stuff, so if you're interested in finally giving this game mode a try for real this time, allow me to be your story spoiler-free guide to starting your journey in Arsalan with confidence. First and foremost, though, I need to set some expectations up front. You don't need to clear things in Reclamation Algorithm perfectly. It's okay to mess up while learning. This game mode features a save system that will let you turn back time to redo battles or even redo several days to make extended preparations for a challenge. While you still should try to get the most out of every map, of course, this mode is a big change of pace compared to standard Arknights demanding perfect clears. The varied map objectives and different contexts you'll be attempting them in will shift around the definition of success. Sometimes, it might even be worth it to intentionally leave things untouched. So, if nothing else, cut yourself some slack while learning. This mode isn't going anywhere. Now that we have that out of the way, two of the questions that I've seen asked the most are, when should I start, and how many operators do I need? And I'll be brutally honest, I wish I could give a straightforward answer that isn't just, it depends. See, I'm not exactly sure where most accounts find themselves in after clearing Chapter 3, but I don't feel like it's Reclamation Algorithm ready since around that bracket, it's not unreasonable for players to still use big-ticket support units for first-time clears. In fact, thanks to handholding my fiancée while she plays on her account recently, I've been relearning just how rough the early game grind is on a budget with an understaffed and underleveled roster. But before you get discouraged, I'm not trying to say that you can't carry yourself with a couple of well-built 6-star rarity operators. They will still be very potent here, and their unique capabilities can really come in handy and save you a lot of time and frustration from reloading your save. However, much like integrated strategies, it really does pay off to have a well-developed roster of operators. Whether it's having to siege a level over multiple days, staffing logistical requirements for important buffs, or having enough personnel on hand to dispatch and gather resources, a well-rounded roster makes the experience a lot less grueling, even on lower difficulties. With that in mind, I might not be able to read your mind to see what your playstyle and preferred operators are, but I can at least provide you with the following suggestions. Firstly, collect and train the quote-unquote welfare operators. As of writing, Arknights provides you with a growing pool of gacha-free operators in the shop, side stories, and other game modes. Collecting and training these operators will offer you a lot more options when fielding squads or warming the bench for logistical support. You'll be getting them eventually anyways, even if you miss out on their first releases. You might as well make use of them. When leveling, level up to Elite 2 module unlock level whenever possible. That's level 40 for 4 stars, 50 for 5 stars, and 60 for 6 stars. Obviously, you're still going to be wanting to level your units regardless, but this particular threshold is good for several reasons. Outside of Reclamation Algorithm, you'll have the option of acquiring these module upgrades, which can sometimes make an operator go from just okay to great. Inside of Reclamation Algorithm, some of the logistical systems you'll encounter are better staffed with Elite 2 operators in general, and Elite 2 operators at module unlock levels will give you a little extra mileage in one specific case as well. Remember, you don't actually have to acquire the module upgrade for this goal, but it's a nice bonus option that becomes available to you at this level. If this is sounding expensive, not to worry. As many have said before me, building lower rarity operators is very cost effective in the main game, and that's no exception here. 4-star rarity operators in particular are almost always worth the investment for RA in some way, since they can reach Elite 2 and provide the benefits I mentioned in the previous point at a cheaper price. There are other skill-based benefits to building and actually using lower rarity operators that other channels like Bloop AK or Dr. Silvergun have gone over, but if nothing else, take advantage of the cheaper prices to bolster your power. I'll also mention that leveling skills to level 7 is another cost-effective threshold that helps you familiarize yourself with what an operator's kit can handle without breaking the bank too badly. Now, there's no specific operator count I'd recommend to start, but there's a rule of thumb I can share. You want enough operators for an A team and a B team. Having 2 or more members of a commonly used subclass trained and ready to fill a role will be a godsend when trying out stages for the first time and not knowing what you might need. You might opt to send in the B team first to scout threats and gather information for your A team to sweep it up later. Or you might find yourself relying on your B team to get things done if your A team is otherwise occupied. Doctors who know which operators can be substituted in and out of a role will feel really good when it comes time to field the backups. My ideas of an A team and a B team will probably look different to your ideas of them, but just know that each team can have up to 12 operators, or 6 if you want to say food, and you can't use the same operator on 2 teams in the same day. In addition, your deployment limit is set to 6 by default, but can be upgraded over time. Just something to consider if you're trying to bring summoners. While preparing your account, I think it's worth noting that there's a lot of use cases for classes that you might not have touched yet in other parts of the game. 3 subclasses I really like in particular are Reaper Guards, Ambusher Specialists, and Fortress Defenders. Thanks to the types of situations this mode will throw at you, area of effect damage will start outperforming single or even multi-target operators in certain scenarios. Even expensive splash casters and artillerymen snipers see great action here. Similarly, long-range operators or operators with global range skills or passives will see massively increased usefulness here, as the mechanics and the maps will often encourage or demand it. To name a few, Ambriel, Goldenglow, Fartooth, Angelina, Ayafyala the Fit Aska, and Perfumer all have some sort of global skill or ability that will help your team immensely on top of their usual duties. I also encourage checking out quote-unquote Arknights. Summoner supporters, tactician vanguards, and operators with high-impact deployables like Stainless Skill 3 or Silence Skill 2 are all great picks for these larger maps. Sometimes this clutter will find themselves going in where normal operators fear to tread. Either way, once you're stable, don't be afraid to experiment here. This mode offers you a lot of freedom in the later game to pull off wonderful things with your new favorite operators that you might not have thought of before. If you want further suggestions, my other Reclamation Algorithm videos are filled with great recommendations and rationale for operators fit for general use or certain challenges, so check those out if you want. Once you have your operators in order and you're in the mode proper, things can feel overwhelming even when you're past the early game. If you're ever stuck on what to do next and you don't feel like looking up more guides, though I'd appreciate the views if you do, follow your main quest objectives. To check on those, the quest list button is the little clipboard on the right side of the screen when you're on the main map. Unlocks are usually centered around pushing the main quest forward and leveling up your HQ levels, so if all of your other needs like base defense, food, and resources are squared away, usually in that order, see if you can push for main quests first before looking for side upgrades in places like strange territories. This game mode is inherently a little slower than some players might be used to because of the grand strategy layer. Considering your options goes a long way to making things easier and avoiding costly mistakes. And when you do make plans, double check before deploying. There's a lot more factors that need to be taken into account when you build your team and tool loadout for deployments. So don't let a missed check turn into a reloaded save if you can help it. Trust me, even I forget to check the weather sometimes. From what I've seen and heard over the months, players can get really intimidated by how much there is to take in during the early game. I wouldn't blame you if that's how you feel, it's a lot to take in. Even so, I think it's important to know and remind yourself that this mode only gets better over time and rewards your investments. You are free to take this mode at your own pace, pool up resources to use on various boosts to increase your power, and accumulate progression on your Arknights account as a whole before taking on new territory. Reclamation Algorithm is a long-term progression mode for a reason, and setting shorter achievable goals will always help to make the bigger goals get much closer and attainable when you're ready. If it involves walking away from the mode entirely to make some main game progress or build up a few more operators, that's fine. RA will be here for you as long as the game stays playable. Now, when I said this mode gets better over time, I don't just mean the natural power progression of the game mode. Tales Within the Sand itself is the second iteration of Reclamation Algorithm, which brought with it major changes to how the mode was balanced. However, a major content expansion several months in also brought with it quality of life changes to certain parts of the interface, as well as new options and tools for early game progression. In fact, there was even a peaceful mode difficulty option added so that only story-related raids will spawn, making for an even smoother experience. I keep mentioning this in particular, by the way, since a lot of players just outright miss the button to toggle it. It's not labeled and starts you off at the hardest difficulty by default. Though, be warned, the handicaps you get on lower difficulties are removed in certain parts of the mode. Even if your difficulty setting doesn't affect progress, it might be worth acclimating to that difficulty eventually so that you can delve deeper in the parts that the difficulty setting doesn't apply to. Reclamation Algorithm is a very large and complicated side mode, but I think it's a really great way to enjoy the core Arknights gameplay underneath a new context, just like integrated strategies. While I hope to eventually compile all of my knowledge into a single definitive guide for this mode, I think at least knowing these things at the start of your journey will make discovering the secrets of this deep game mode a lot easier to enjoy. Of course, if you do want guidance on future challenges and don't mind spoilers, feel free to check out my other Reclamation Algorithm videos, which are still fairly relevant even after the updates. I've still got a lot of ground to cover with my videos too, so expect new stuff when it's ready. I also stream a lot of RA and Arknights in general on Twitch, so come and join me sometime if you can. I post schedules of when I plan to stream here on YouTube, my Discord server, and Blue Sky, so pick your preferred way to keep up. I also plan to upload the recordings of all of my Reclamation Algorithm campaign streams up to in-game day 300 or so, that Twitch is forcing me to delete, so look forward to that if you can't make it to a stream. It's a great way to see how I faced each challenge this game mode issued blind for the first time. Lastly, I want to give a couple of shoutouts. The Reclamation Algorithm Hub channel on the official Arknights Discord is a very active channel right now for getting your questions answered, and my first videos are even in the pinned messages there for quick reference. It's an honor, truly. Another great reference, by the way, in the pinned messages is a text guide called A Welcome to the Sand, written by Yomi, and it is very thorough and well-researched. Not everything has to be a YouTube video, you know? I can respect that. Finally, a big thank you to everyone in the comments asking questions and giving feedback. Numbers going up can only tell me so much of a story, but a comment saying that my work was helpful or a question that I can help answer gives me some of the best feelings in the world when I see them. And it doesn't cost anything but your time and a little typing, so thank you. If you do want to throw a little financial appreciation my way though, Patreon, YouTube, and Twitch all have options to show your support. With that, good luck in the sands, and may your base stand the test of time.